What's up guys, Marcus from Rare Candy today, and today we're going to be taking a look at a video of a pretty fun deck in my opinion, and a pretty good one too, I think, in standard format even. Now this deck has been covered, I've seen, videos on this deck being played in expanded format. Back whenever it first was good, I think was back in 2015 at Georgia Regionals is whenever it kind of first saw play. Where people were, playing Primal Groudon with Wobbuffet. That was back when Roaring Skies had just come out, so a lot of people were trying to tech against Mega Rayquaza, and Wobbuffet was a good tech and whatnot. I actually played the wrong Primal Groudon at that tournament. I tried to go Turbo Groudon, which is where you kind of you play like 3 Shamans, and you just try to like go fast and get a turn 2 Gaia Volcano and overwhelm your opponent. But it actually was sort of an underwhelming deck. So this was the right way to do it, definitely, was the Wobbuffet version. And so yeah, ever since then, people have been playing Primal Groudon with Wobbuffet, and now people are playing it in Expanded, and in Expanded you definitely need to play it with 4 Tropical Beach, just because of how slow you're going to be going. Now, Wobbuffet does help with how slow this deck sets up. It kind of brings your opponent down to, your speed. They can't play their Shamans, they can't use Oranguru to instruct, they can't use Abyssal Hand, so it just makes it a little bit more difficult for them to go fast as well. So yeah, I guess we'll just get right into the deck and the premise of the deck. Basically, just try to do a lot of damage with Gaia Volcano. So we're going to start off with the Pokemon. We play a 3-3 Primal Groudon line. Groudon EX, 180 HP, first attack Rip Claw, 30 damage, flip a coin. If heads, discard an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. That attack can actually come in handy sometimes, like if you get like Lysandered or something, which hopefully you don't, but if you do, you can try and take their energies off and slow them down a little bit. And then Massive Rend is 3 fighting energy and a colorless energy for 130 damage. Weak to grass, 4 retreat cost, so this dude's big. You don't want to get him Lysandered. And then now we'll go over Primal Groudon. Primal Groudon, the reason he's good, honestly, is Omega Barrier. Whenever your opponent plays a trainer card, excluding Pokemon tools and stadium cards, prevent all effects of that card done to this Pokemon. So basically, your opponent, once you've Mega Evolved into Primal Groudon, your opponent can't Lysander Groudon to the active spot. They can't play Enhanced Hammers. They can't play Crushing Hammers. They can't do anything to disrupt Primal Groudon. So that's honestly the main reason why this Primal Groudon is so good. Just because you can sit there and hide behind Wobbuffet until you're ready to attack. Once Groudon's ready to go, he's going to be taking plenty of knockouts. You really only need to set up 2 max. Sometimes you really only need 1. But, it's good to set up 2 just because that way if they do take a knockout on the active, then you've got your other one, on the bench ready for you. But normally, your first Primal Groudon will take the first 4 prizes, and then the last one will take the last 2. But yeah, we'll go over its attack really quick. Gaia Volcano, 100 damage, plus if there's any stadium card in play, this attack does 100 more damage. Discard that stadium, costs 3 fighting and a colorless energy. So pretty much the whole point is to power this guy up with strong energy. 1 strong energy puts it at 220, 2 strong energy puts you at 240. Sometimes you'll play against stuff like Solgaleo GX. No one's really playing too much Lunala. Some people, I've even seen Wailord around lately. But yeah, so those would be a little bit harder to get the 1-hit knockout on. But I mean, if you need to, you can put 3 strong energy on there. It's not ideal, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. Again, he's weak to grass, and then he's got a 4 retreat cost. And then, yeah, like I've said, Wobbuffet is his partner here. Bide Barricade. As long as he's the active Pokemon, each Pokemon in each player's hand and in each player's discard pile has no abilities. We're never going to use Psychic Assault, so I'm not going to go over that. But yeah, so pretty much Wobbuffet, he just sits active and then slows your opponent down to your pace so that you can set up Primal Groudons, take as long as you want to set up Primal Groudons. Normally you can just set up 1 and then start swinging while you're attaching energy to your bench during each of those turns. So Yeah, once you've got one, you're probably good to go, but you can even wait, honestly. Like, I've played games where I'll just wait until I have 4 energy on both Primal Groudons and then start attacking, but now we'll get into the trainer cards. We don't play any Ultra Ball in this deck because we play a lot of resources that we honestly want to keep. We don't want to be discarding too many things too often, so we play 3 Heavy Ball. Search your deck for a Pokemon with a retreat cost of 3 or more, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck afterwards. So these are obviously to get the Primal Groudon and the Groudon EX lines. And then we play 3 Nest Ball. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon, put it onto your bench, then shuffle your deck afterwards. This is also good to get Groudon EX, but also for Wobbuffet as well. So since he's just a basic, you can just grab it with a Nest Ball, and that way we don't have to play anything like Ultra Ball, discarding resources that we don't want to get rid of. And yeah, so I like that search engine with the Heavy Ball and the Nest Ball. We play 3 Mega Turbo. This is self-explanatory. Play it and get your fighting energies onto your Primal Groudons. Help power them up quickly. 4 Versus Seeker. We don't need to go over that. I mean, just get supporters back from your discard pile. 4 is pretty standard. And then for stadium cards, we play 4 Scorched Earth. Once during each player's turn, that player may discard a fire or fighting energy card from his or her hand. If that player does so, then he or she draws 2 cards. So just another way to help you get set up a little bit quicker. Like I've already said, this is a kind of slow deck, but Scorched Earth does help with, you play 9 fighting energy, so you can just discard energy, and draw 2 more cards, so definitely useful. And then we play the 1 Shrine of Memories, so that we can use Groudon EX's attacks even if we're Primal Groudon. So this way, if we don't have like a Stadium in play, for example, but we might have like a couple of strong energy on them, we can ramp up the Massive Rend from 130 to 150 or 170, even 190 if you want to put 3 strong energy on. So that way you can be Primal Groudon with your 240 HP, and then, maybe you don't want to get rid of a Stadium, you can take a knockout with just the Massive Rend and strong energies, and then save your Stadium to Gaia Volcano with later. Then yeah, I just like 1 Shrine though, because you're not in that situation a ton, and then but it's still useful to play just so that even if you don't want to use the effective Shrine of Memories, you still get the damage buff for the Gaia Volcano. But yeah, then for our supporter cards, we play 1 Hex Maniac. This is very useful against things like Giratina, that wall against Megas. It's also useful because if you really don't have like another supporter that you really need to play, if you want to just play Hex and then Gaia Volcano, honestly that'll hinder your opponent as well. Not only did you just take a knockout, but they're also not able to play Shamans to get something else set up quicker, so 1 Hex is good. 2 Lysander, pretty standard, just pull a Pokemon from their bench to your active. 4 N and 3 Sycamore instead of the usual 3 and 4 Sycamore, because again, we don't want to discard too many of our resources. Also, they might be knocking out a couple Wobbuffets too in the early game while you're not taking prizes yet, so you can put them down to a lower hand size early game and then keep drawing 6 until you're ready to start taking prizes. We play 1 Olympia, which is definitely needed in this deck because, again, Primal Groudon has a 4 retreat cost, Wobbuffet has a 2 retreat cost, and so that way they can't stick anything active that doesn't have a float stone on it. So 1 Olympia is definitely good. We do play 1 Pokemon Center Lady. Primal Groudon is a very tanky Pokemon, and so healing him with Pokemon Center Lady, that's just going to annoy your opponent even more, because they're going to have to, start swinging, even more just to take a knockout on Primal Groudon. I've seen people, like, 4-shot me and still not take a knockout just because of Center Lady. So, yeah, definitely a good card in this deck. We play 1 Pokemon Ranger. This is good if your opponent does Chaos. You can still put your Stadiums down. You can still put your special energies down, your strong energies. If your opponent is playing Regice, you'll be able to attack through Regice. If your opponent is playing, Glaceon, you'll be able to attack through Glaceon. So seems good in this deck. I had 2 Hex in here, but I don't feel that that's extremely needed. So since I just had an open spot, I figured why not Pokemon Ranger. We already went over 3 Sycamore for the last draw supporter, and then we play 1 Skyla. Skyla is really good because you can grab a Stadium, a Mega Turbo, one of your tool cards, another supporter for the next turn. It's just good to play 1 of in this deck, just helps you set up. So that's it for the supporters. Now we'll get into our tool cards. We're playing 1 Assault Vest, any damage done to this Pokemon that this card is attached to by your opponent's Pokemon that have any special energy on it basically reduces them by 40. So pretty much, again, just helping Groudon with its tankiness. Play a lot of decks in this, current format are playing like, special energies of all sorts. Like double colorless is extremely common. Double dragon, strong energy, splash energy, lots of different special energies. So this is just another way to help Groudon, tank a couple hits while he takes some knockouts. We play 2 Floatstone, obviously for Wobbuffets. That way you can retreat out of the active whenever you're ready to start attacking with Groudon. We play 1 Heavy Boots. This one is if the retreat cost of this Pokemon that this card is attached to is 3 or more, this Pokemon gets plus 20 HP and can't be confused. We're really not too worried about confusion. I know Espeon GX does confuse you, but other than that, it's really just for the 20 HP buff if they're not playing special energy or if you're not weak to them. We run the 1 weakness policy, so that way if we do play against something like Lurantis or Decidueye, it'll help out there. But honestly, like Assault Vest helps out against Decidueye too because they do need a DCE to attack. But yeah, so it's just depending on your meta, you can kind of change up these tools. Like if no one's really playing like grass stuff at your local meta, you can maybe throw in another Assault Vest or another Heavy Boots. If no one's really, I don't know, if there's a lot of grass, you can take out the Heavy Boots and put in another weakness policy. So you can kind of play with these how you want, but I like the 1/1/1 of each of them. And then energy, we play 4 strong energy and 9 fighting energy. I really like this energy count. Obviously we want to play the max count of strong energy, and then 9 fighting energy just helps because you can discard them with Scorched Earth, get more draw power. This way you're always hitting energy and stuff too, and if you want to have 2 Primal Groudon set up, you will need 4 energy on both. So I do like this count of energy a lot. I don't think I would really change much about any card in this deck. I kind of like the way this is set up here. But if you guys have any changes, obviously let us know what you think you would do in the comments. But yeah, so that is the deck pretty much. Like I said, you just kind of want to set up with Wobbuffet in the active, slow your opponent down while you set up, and then just, start taking prizes with Primal Groudon once he's good and ready to attack. But yeah, so we'll check out a game with this and see how it goes. Alright, so we've got a game against PB, I guess is how you say their name. And I saw Dark and Lightning and Psychic Energy, so I guess we'll see what it is. We're going to call the coin flip, and we call heads, we lose, so PB is going to choose. So we open with a Wobbuffet, so that is great. Anytime you open with Wobbuffet, that's awesome. You always want to open Wobbuffet. So it looks like we've got a Heavy Ball, Mega Turbo, and Scorched Earth and 2 fighting energy. So this seems like a pretty good opening hand. We can Heavy Ball for a Primal Groudon, attach to it, maybe get some other stuff going. So we top deck a Wobbuffet after they just kind of attach a Floatstone and pass. Then we'll grab a Groudon EX with the Heavy Ball. Just searching our deck, making sure we have everything we need, seeing what counts of stuff are prized. So we'll bench the Groudon, attach an energy, and here we're gonna go ahead and play the Scorched Earth, and we get a Floatstone and a Heavy Ball. So we'll attach the Floatstone to the active. I think we're gonna hold on to this hand and pass, just because next turn we can Heavy Ball for a Primal Groudon and then Mega Evolve, ending our turn, and then Mega Turbo and then play the end. So again, this deck is pretty slow, but you can afford to be slow because of Wobbuffet. So here we do unfortunately get Lysandered before we can get the Mega Evolution with our Omega Barrier. So we're just gonna grab a Groudon and Mega Evolve. So and I think we're fine. They don't really have any energy attached, so the most they can do here is 30 with a Strafe. So yeah, I think we'll be okay. Alright, so he will Strafe us, and then we're just gonna Mega Turbo, attach, and then Sycamore. So draw a new hand, we'll bench another Primal Groudon, or a regular Groudon, and then we'll attach to the active and put down a Wobbuffet. So here, we're going to just start swinging next turn, honestly. you know, even though our Primal Groudon is active, and then they will play the Enhanced Hammer to try and discard our Strong Energy, but they can't because of Omega Barrier. So they're just going to Lysander, looks like the other Groudon, so that way they can try and stall for a couple more turns. They saw we were definitely about to attack the next turn, just because we only need one more energy. So yeah. Looks like they're going to play a Nest Ball, switch to Umbreon GX, and Strafe for 30. So we get an energy attachment for this turn, so honestly things are not looking too bad. Just kind of deciding if we want to attach it or draw with it, and we're just going to attach it and play N. So seems alright. Alright, so we don't really draw into much that we can use, so we Scorched Earth and get an Assault Vest, which that seemed pretty good. I assume they're going to play DCE, just because this is Umbreon GX, so they probably want to play DCE in their deck to attack faster. So that'll be good, because then we'll reduce any damage done to Primal Groudon if they do attach a DCE by 40. So it looks like they're going to N us, which seems fine. I mean, we weren't really going to do much with this hand other than, you know, attach the Strong Energy maybe to the active and then pass. So here we get a Primal Groudon and a Float Stone, so this is good because we can float the Groudon out of the active spot into the Wobbuffet with a Float Stone, and then so they do Dark Call GX us, so we lose 2 energy there, but that's fine. We still have time to keep setting up because of Wobbuffets. We can just hide behind these guys until we're ready. So we've got 2 Fighting and a Strong in the discard pile, so pretty much just wondering, do I want to Scorched Earth this? Do I want to hold on to it and just attach it? So we're going to Heavy Ball, just to thin our deck basically. We do have the Primal in hand already, but yeah, just making it so our deck has you know, less cards that we don't really need anymore in there. So yeah, we will Mega Evolve to end our turn, and we're good to go now pretty much. Like, he can't Lysander anything other than Wobbuffets, so yeah, I think we'll be fine for a couple more turns. We'll probably attach, and because our opponent is playing a deck that is weak to fighting, we kind of have a little bit of an advantage as well, just because I can just attach, you know, another strong energy, another fighting energy, and even without a stadium, I'm still doing enough to knock out Umbreon GX. So he will parallel us, so we'll have to get rid of 2 Wobbuffet, which is fine. It's not a huge deal because we're pretty much going to be ready to attack the next turn. Looks like they'll Delinquent us as well, so luckily we do have Versus Seeker so that we can Sycamore and draw some more cards. So yeah, even though they can't disrupt our Groudons anymore, they can still disrupt our hand and our board, which is fine though, because probably just going to start taking some knockouts soon. And it looks like they did target the Groudon with the Assault Vest on it, so that's why nothing on the bench took any damage, because it only does 30 and it is reduced by 40. So we're going to play a Sycamore here. We get a Nest Ball, and we're going to search our deck basically. We kind of just played it so that we wouldn't get end and then draw into it again. And yeah, so I guess we're fine, you know, to just start attacking here. So we're going to retreat into Primal Groudon and go ahead and attack and take 2 prize cards. So, you know, worst case scenario, I assume this Primal Groudon will probably take us, he'll probably net us, you know, at least 4 prize cards, and then the benched Groudon will, you know, clean up the last 2. He's going to play a Crushing Hammer, Flip Tails, Versus Seeker, and maybe an N. Yeah, there we go. So put us down to 4, put him back up to 6. And that's fine by me. So yeah, not a bad hand actually here either. We've got a Stadium, an Energy to attach to our bench Groudon, a Mega Turbo to get more energy on that benched Groudon. So we're honestly, like, not in a bad position at all here. Things are actually looking very good for us. So they'll get a Shaman, and probably set up for 3 cards here. Oh, they'll play a Trainer's Mail first, lower their hand size, so they're gonna need an Ultra Ball, and they'll set up for 2. Just looking through our discard to see how much energy, all that kind of stuff is in there. So, or not set up for 2, they're gonna set up for 4, so they have 6, duh. Alright, so they'll get another Umbreon and a Mewtwo on the bench. So we'll just see another Oblivion Wing for 30, And cool, so we'll attach the strong energy to the bench. We'll Mega Turbo to it. And so here we do unfortunately need to put the stadium down to take the knockout. If we don't, we're only doing 100 damage with the strong energy on. So we'll be 30 short without the stadium. But I think that's fine because, again, Umbreon GX is weak to fighting, so we don't really need a stadium to take KOs on Umbreon. So he attaches to this Mewtwo. And Mewtwo does Psychic, 20 plus 20 more for every energy attached to me. So because of Assault Vest, he'll only be doing 60 damage right now, is what it looks like. So we'll see a Versus Seeker here. And wonder what they're going to get. So an N, put us down to 3, put themselves back up to 6. Alright. And we'll see an attack from Mewtwo, so a Psychic, putting us to 120. So we top deck an Energy, which is great. And we're just going to Lysander and take the knockout on this Umbreon GX. So now we just need one more prize card to win the game. So yeah, I mean, you can see the strength of Primal Groudon. Just Gaia Volcano does so much damage, and he's very tanky, so especially when you put Assault Vest on him. That's the reason we don't play Spirit Links in this deck, just because since we are taking our time powering up these Groudons behind Wobbuffets, we don't really need the Spirit Link, so we can play other things to help make Primal Groudon more tanky. So we'll do another 60, putting us at 180. We're going to attach here. Hit him with a well played, but we don't win the game yet. We're 10 short. Oh, didn't realize that. So, yeah, but next turn, I assume we'll have it. If he does have anything other than Mewtwo active, we will just knock it out. Oh, except for Shaman. Shaman could actually, we'd be 10 short there, I believe. Be 120 minus 20 from resistance, so yeah, we'd be 10 short if he did strafe into Shaman here. So we'll see a Shadow Bullet, and it'll do 50 because of the Assault Vest. So we're holding on with 10 HP left, and then we'll Gaia Volcano for 240 damage. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much the deck. That's the strength of Primal Groudon. If you're playing in a meta where there's a lot of EXs and there's a lot of GXs, then Primal Groudon is definitely a good call. You might even see this guy at regionals. Probably not. I don't think too many people are going to try and play him because he does struggle a lot against one prize attackers, especially things like Vespiquen when he was weak to them as well. But yeah, one prize attackers do... they do make, you know, they're troublesome for Primal Groudon just because he's not taking his 2 prizes. So you're not taking prizes quick enough once you're attacking. But if you are playing in a meta that is a lot of EXs, a lot of GXs, then Primal Groudon's definitely a great call. Another thing I want to point out is I have played this against like Decidueye a couple times too. I think if you open with Wobbuffet, you just win against Decidueye just because you can still play all your item cards and stuff. You can still set up fine. They can't Feather Arrow. They're 2-shotting your Wobbuffets with Razor Leaf for 90. So if you just keep streaming Wobbuffets until you're ready to attack, you pretty much beat Decidueye as well. So, but yeah, guys, that's the deck. Thanks for checking this video out. But yeah, be sure to leave a like, leave us a comment letting us know if you would change anything about the deck, what you think about it, how you feel about Primal Groudon and whatnot. Be sure to subscribe and also check out our merch store at rarecandytcg.com. We got some new stuff in stock now, a couple new playmats and whatnot, so definitely be sure to check those out. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.